think of autonomous drone as being completely without human intervention. The drone gets the order, takes off from a distribution point, flies to the site, does the service, and then flies back, all without a human being involved.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 209. Is there a marketplace for autonomous drone services? One man believes there is. Derek Waleko is CEO and co-founder of UpSonder, a drone startup that provides drone services to businesses around the country, ranging from local real estate agents to major energy companies. Its vision is to be a one-stop drone solution for drone services, which Goldman Sachs estimates will be worth $13 billion by 2020. The company went live in March of 2017 and has grown into one of the largest drone marketplaces in the country. As a forward-looking company, UpSonder is preparing to integrate autonomous flight services into its marketplace. In this episode of the Drone Radio Show, Derek talks about the growth of UpSonder, how the company plans to offer autonomous flight services, and how we can participate in a unique funding opportunity to help raise capital for the release of UpSonder Marketplace 2.0. But before we hear from Derek, I'd like to thank those of you who are supporting my funding campaign. Now you have the option of making a one-time donation in any amount by going to droneradioshow.com/donate. Whether it's $1, $100, or much more, you can help defray the cost of production and keep the podcast going and growing. And if you'd like to make a monthly contribution, you can still go to patreon.com/droneradioshow. So let's learn how one drone marketplace is preparing for an autonomous future with Derek Waleko of UpSonder. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Derek to introduce himself.
My name is Derek Waleko, and I'm CEO of UpSonder. And UpSonder is a drone services platform that offers businesses solutions for their aerial data needs.
Derek, how long has UpSonder been in business?
We incorporated in 2015. That was very, very early on, getting the business started and actually putting all the pieces together. And then we entered into beta 2017, and then we exited 2018. And then we've been operational since.
We first spoke after UpSonder launched. What's happened since?
Well, we've learned some valuable lessons. Our marketplace has expanded. We originally started off as a drone rental company, offering the drones to be able to be rented between individuals. And we quickly saw that there was a need and desire for a drone pilot, an expert to actually handle those. And so we shifted the company to offering drone pilots and looking for experts in Part 107 pilots. And so we've now expanded to over 770 cities across America, which is phenomenal. I don't remember how many cities we were in when we talked 2 years ago, but it wasn't anything close to this. And so we've really expanded and be able to have now a talking point for businesses to let them know that we can service their needs in all 50 states. So that's something that has changed. We've definitely grown considerably. And we're working to expand Marketplace 1.0. And for your listeners, I'll explain why we call it 1.0, because we're developing a new Marketplace 2.0, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. We're expanding Marketplace 1.0, and we're currently interviewing new sales and marketing positions. So if your listeners are interested and they're in the LA area, they can submit a resume to info@upsonder.com because we're currently hiring. But we want to go ahead and expand the client base that's on UpSonder. We've also built new software. We have a new API that's ideal for enterprise clients to be able to access UpSonder's database, to be able to hire for reoccurring missions. If they have a little bit larger footprint across America and they have trouble sourcing for that. So we're excited about this new API. But we're growing, we're expanding the team, and we're building new software. But the biggest change is that we're starting to talk more about the future that UpSonder is building, kind of our long-term vision. We've had this in our business model, but we've yet to really talk about it to the public. But now we're starting to become more comfortable with giving details about where we're headed. And that has a lot to do with adapting to an autonomous future. And that has everything to do with Marketplace 2.0. And so we listed with the SEC, and we're doing crowd equity funding, and we opened it to the public. And we also saw this as an opportunity to deliver more value to our pilots and to have them have a chance to be able to own an actual piece of the company. So that's probably the biggest change, is that right now we're raising money to be able to fulfill our long-term future plans to bring on an autonomous future marketplace that has a lot to do with autonomous drones.
Why do you think UpSonder has been successful? What differentiates your company from the other drone marketplaces?
We decided early on that the backbone of UpSonder, the heart and soul of UpSonder, is our pilots. And so we decided to go after pilots aggressively. We have a program in place to be able to offer cashback incentives for Part 107 pilots to be able to be paid back for their costs that they incur for becoming a Part 107. We give pilots the ability to have full control over their accounts and what their rates are. We have the highest payout in the industry. We give our pilots 95% of what they ask for, and we only take 5%. And that model is actually even being discussed right now internally to even be shifted. And we may end up giving pilots 100% of what they ask for and actually putting the cost onto the client themselves. That may be a little premature to say, but that's something that we're currently considering. And I think that us putting the pilot first and understanding that there would be no UpSonder without our pilots is probably why we've seen such amazing growth over the years.
In terms of autonomous flight operations, what did you see in the marketplace that you're responding to?
Well, it's not so much a response. I think we always understood well that an autonomous future was coming, and we always knew and understood that. I think the thing that we understand better now is that our drone pilots don't have to be too concerned as much about losing jobs to autonomous drones, because the demand for drone services is growing exponentially. It's something that is going to be sweeping the globe in the next coming years, and there's really not enough drone pilots to be able to satisfy that demand. And so autonomous drones are actually going to have to come onto the scene as a means of necessity to be able to support that growing demand for services. And so we really see autonomous drones working side by side with our drone pilots to be able to do this. And even still, with autonomous drones coming onto the scene, there are always going to be jobs that drone pilots will be better at than autonomous drones. And so I think there's still going to be a need for drone pilots well into the future. And I really see them as being a symbiotic relationship.
But autonomy doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a pilot, right? I mean, there still has to be some sort of operator associated with the operation. Or am I looking at it incorrectly?
I tend to think of autonomous drone as being completely without human intervention. It's software driven. Once an order comes in, the drone gets the order, takes off from a distribution point, flies to the site, does the service, and then flies back, all without a human being involved. There's rules and regulations that don't allow for that model to exist, but that model is coming. And that's essentially the Marketplace 2.0 that we're building. See, one of the things that we see in the future is that with autonomous drones, to be able to service a larger area, you need to have a drone that can actually make those distances and make those flight times. And one of the things that is a pain point actually for the drone industry and the drones themselves are energy flight times. And so we are going to be connecting rooftops to be able to build infrastructure to have drones land and hopscotch from rooftop to rooftop to be able to satisfy these missions. And one of the early areas that we're going to test this and start developing for this is in the real estate market. And so that's really what we're working on now. We're going to be testing in 2019, and the goal is in 2020 to display and demonstrate the technology. But essentially, what we want is for a real estate agent to be able to have a listing or a real estate asset and basically type in the address, and an UpSonder drone would fly to the location, film the asset, and then fly back and deliver those assets in under an hour. It's an ambitious goal, but we have even more ambitious goals past that, and that's just the first iteration of Marketplace 2.0.
Tell us about the funding initiative that's underway. How does it work, and what are the benefits for people that participate?
In 2016, this was something that was actually it took me back a little bit to even think about it this way, but I heard it put this way, and it made a lot of sense to me. Before 2016, Americans could basically gamble in Vegas, Las Vegas, their hard-earned cash on 22 Black or whatever it may be, no problem. You're allowed to do that. And if you want a mortgage and sell your car and you want to completely go bankrupt doing that, fine, you can do it. You have that right as an American. But the second you want to try to invest in a startup, you're restricted, not allowed. You got to be an accredited investor. You got to be a millionaire, billionaire. It's not for you. And that was just ludicrous and insane. And so what the SEC did is they changed the laws, and good for them. I think they finally got the message. More needs to be done. But what they allowed is now everyday individuals to be able to have the same access to early startups as accredited investors, the billionaires and millionaires out there. And they changed those laws. And then it took a while for companies and platforms like Republic, which we're listed on, to be able to offer an easy access point to new startups. And so Republic is a platform that works with startups, that works them through the SEC regulations and listing and getting their financials reviewed and vetting the startups and whatnot. And so what we did was went with Republic, and they helped us with that process. And now we're on the platform, and we're raising equity crowdfunding to the general public that allows our members to become owners into UpSonder and the general public to be owners into UpSonder. And so that is available right now at republic.co. And our campaign is live until April 30th. And right now we're seeing a lot of amazing traction. We've already raised over $120,000 on the platform. We have 345 investors, and it just keeps growing. And it just seems people are really melding and understanding this future and wanting to be a part of it. So we're excited. It's finally available for the general public.
What's the overall goal for the campaign?
I only learned about the new rules and regulations from the SEC last year, and I wasn't entirely clear on all of it. I remember when we got approached to possibly do this or consider this, I wasn't all in. I didn't think it was too new of an idea, but I'm not scared of new ideas. And so I was like, okay, let's see what the idea was. And so we set a goal of $25,000 to raise, and we're now well over that, 483% over that. And so it was originally $25,000, now over $120,000. So we've already kind of hit our goal, but we realize that Marketplace 2.0 is definitely a $15 million to $20 million venture, and we'll have to raise venture capital money to be able to do this. So this money, what we're going to use it for is to develop the first iterations of Marketplace 2.0 and build a minimal reference drone to be able to show what this marketplace potentially could be and will be. And so that's basically what the money is going to be used for. Outside of that, we're going to be also dedicating money for Marketplace 1.0 to continue sales and marketing in that area as well.
How does this investment opportunity compare to traditional mechanisms like stocks, mutual funds, IPOs, for example?
Sure. So these are alternative to mutual funds in the stock market. This is not an IPO. It's called crowd equity funding. I guess it's like a pre-IPO. I'm not entirely too sure, but it's a very easy method. The minimum investment allowed is $100 up to, I believe, $2,200 per individual. And then after that $2,200, the SEC puts in restrictions and says you have to be a certain type of individual to go above that. So that's why I said the SEC still has more to do. So between $100 and $2,200, any individual, any American in the United States can invest into UpSonder through this platform. That's very simple. All our financials and all our information is listed with the SEC. All the terms and what it means is listed. It's very well outlined. It's all on one site as required by the SEC. And so all the information about the company, about the investment itself, what the investment means, and the deadline for it, which is April 30th, is on our main page at Republic. And that's mandated by the SEC. But if there's any questions, all the information is going to be on the Republic website.
Based on your experience, if there are other entrepreneurs who are thinking about that option for raising capital, What would be some of the things that you would encourage them to consider before making a decision?
UpSonder is the only drone services company that is actually offering this to their members. We really see that as a very big value add-on for our members. So if you're a startup out there and you have a marketplace and you want to deliver more value to your members, let them share in the wealth. And I think that's something that is probably overlooked, and that this is an ability to have more value delivered to your individual members. And I think that's key when building a marketplace. The other thing is that I think you have to pick the right platform. There are a number of platforms out there that offer this service, and Republic is the best. I believe it's the top platform out there. So if they're going to go through this, I think they have to really consider what type of platforms that they're going to be hosted on. But Republic has a really good reputation in the industry. They come from AngelList. For those that know AngelList, they're created out of AngelList, and they just have a really good reputation being a solid platform. So I think that's important as well. And so two things: being able to pick the right platform, and then also considering that you can now deliver more value to your actual either clients or the actual members of your company. I think that's something worth considering.
What have been some of the challenges of adding autonomous flight services to your marketplace?
The technology behind setting it up. I think, the transition from Marketplace 1.0 to Marketplace 2.0. When I say transition, I don't mean Marketplace 1.0 ceases to exist. Marketplace 1.0 will always exist, and it'll just be merged into Marketplace 2.0. So I don't want the listeners or members to worry. It's not that Marketplace 1.0 is going to shut down. It's just it's going to work side by side with Marketplace 2.0. So we really see a synergy there for both marketplaces to exist. But the main challenges facing us is technology, and to be able to demonstrate this technology. We are developing some very sophisticated precision navigation, because it's super important to be able to know exactly where the drones are and make sure they get to their destination with centimeter precision. So we're working on that to make that a reality. And I think to be able also to have a testing facility to where we can test this and have support of the local community. Not many people know this, but when the IPP, before the FAA made their final selection, Los Angeles was in the bid. And San Diego ended up winning. But for Los Angeles, UpSonder was a preferred and picked partner for the city of Los Angeles. So we have a good relationship with the city of Los Angeles because of the IPP. We all had our fingers crossed, and we were all very devastated when it went to San Diego. Congratulations, San Diego. And it means a lot to everyone down there as well. But it was disappointing, to say the least, because we were ready to move forward. But the one thing that did come out of that relationship was a stronger relationship with the city government. And so we're confident that when we get to the stage when we're ready to start testing, that we'll have strong support from our local politicians here to be able to do that. And then the other thing is to continue to raise money, because this is a very large endeavor, and we have a very, very grand vision to be able to provide drone services to the entire planet, and not just to businesses, but to any individual. If you need your prescription medications delivered, or you need home security, or you need some type of, scan, we want to have UpSonder drones providing these services to anyone. And so that's where we're headed, and that's the grand and large future that we're building. We're doing it step at a time. And so right now we're developing the technology, and we're raising money.
Going back to a conversation that you and I had a couple of years ago, you talked about plans by UpSonder to lease rooftops of buildings or homes for drone charging stations. Is that concept still part of the company's strategy?
It is. We still have that as part of our onboarding questions. And so we continue to collect that information and understand where the skeleton of Marketplace 2.0 will exist. And so we have that skeleton kind of overlaid over the United States. And so we kind of can see where these rooftops will exist, or an idea of it. It's more for data purposes right now. We will be reaching out to our members who said that they're interested in having a charging station installed on their rooftop, and we'll probably do a very slow rollout at first, and then we'll probably expand from there. More than likely, we'll do a test run in Los Angeles and try to work that scenario out and have a proof of concept built here in Los Angeles. So we'll be relying on our LA base to be able to provide those rooftops and do some test runs. But we very much see that the play for a network, we're calling it IF, the IF network, IF, it stands for Infinity Flight. we see the IF network being very useful on private residential rooftops. And that's more for the purpose of being able to deploy this at a large scale, at a very rapid scale, once we have proof of concept determined. Because at that point, it eliminates a lot of the red tape. Whereas opposed if we were using city property to be able to go down that road, I think that would really slow progress. But if we have members that understand and get and are not afraid of drone technology, then that is the base that we want to rely on to be able to expand Marketplace 2.0. A lot of the problem, I think, facing the drone industry, it's not regulation, it's not hardware, it's not software, it's not the technology, it's really public sentiment. And I think with having a strong base that gets it and is welcoming drone technology is a plus.
And my final question, Derek, what message would you like to leave in regard to the drone industry?
Drone services is growing extremely fast, and I think regulations around it are going to be following like dominoes. The FAA has done a great job with their IPP program. They've been moving extremely fast, and I see a lot of new rules and regulations opening up, and I see a lot of more drone use cases coming, and I think that's good for everyone in the industry.
That's it for episode 209 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Derek Waleko of UpSonder. I want to thank Derek for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about UpSonder or want to connect with Derek, check out the webpage at UpSonder.com. If you'd like to participate in their investment opportunity, go to republic.co/UpSonder, and it's UP-Sonder. And please don't forget about the Drone Radio Show. If you like the podcast, please consider supporting it with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate or patreon.com/droneradioshow. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me. I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.